This is a introductory video into Google Forms. Once you're in your Google Drive, if you go over to New, we don't see Google Forms. In order for us to create a Google Form, we need to go down to where it says More, and you will see a variety of options, and we will select the one that says Google Forms. This is sort of the introductory page that you will always see when you come into Google Forms. We can see that we can add a title, so we'll call this test form, we'll call it number 1. And like any Google product, if we go back up here to sort of the name of the actual form, if we just click in there, it pulls the name from here right up there. We could give it a description. This is a test form for a video tutorial. Okay, and then we can go ahead and start looking at questions. So question number 1, and if you notice, wherever I click, it just kind of brings up the editing menu for that particular question. And question number 1 here talks about it being a multiple choice. But we could change it into a variety of different questions in Google Forms. We could do a short answer, a paragraph, multiple choice, checks boxes, drop-down menu, do a linear scale, sort of a grid choice, which allows you to have options both going down and across, where you could have somebody selecting a date or a time. So those are a variety of different things we can do for the question. So I'll go ahead and have it be a short answer because I want to know your name, and then they'd be able to add that in there. If I want to add an additional question, if I look at the page, there's a plus button right over here. I can go ahead and hit the plus button and it adds another question. I can again change from a short answer to multiple choice. My multiple choice question will be, what is the color of the sky? And option number 1 will be red. Now if I want to add another option, I can click down here, right where it says add other option, and I can check blue. The other option I can do is just hit the return button, and it allows me to go a little bit faster for us to add the colors that way. I can go add another question, and again, I could make this maybe a linear scale where the question is, how well do you know Google Forms? And I could say not at all. I could teach it to someone. Right, so there's my linear scale. Now, as you have your questions, you may or may not want somebody who's taking your form to have to answer a question before they submit. And if you do, you just go ahead and hit that required button right there. I come down here, hit the required button again. Come down here, open up the editing for this, go ahead and require that one. If you want to look at what your form looks like, we simply hit this preview button right up here. Go ahead and preview that form, and this is what it would look like if somebody got your form. And this is a test form for a video tutorial. Required questions, name, color of the sky, how well do you know Google Forms, and you could go ahead and submit it. I will go ahead and submit one so we can see what it looks like when they submit the form. It says, oh, your response has been recorded. If I go back here, I can now see that I have one response. I can click on it and I can see a summary of the responses. Fred responded once, said it was blue. 4, we see all that information. Couple quick little formatting things before we wrap up this first video. If you click this color palette piece, we can change the color of our form to a variety of different things. You could even choose a picture background, and there's a variety of different themes and things you could pick from. So, you know, maybe we want that to be our background up top. And now that kind of changes everything we have going there. There are a few settings. Number 1, you can control who can see your form. So if you restrict it to Elkhart Community School users, it'll ask them to sign in with their Elkhart Community School login before they take it. if you do that, you also can then collect their email address right with it. With this, you can also limit them to one response, which means you wouldn't be able to have that button that said submit another response. And then you can allow them to see a summary of all the responses or edit after you respond. In terms of what it looks like while you're taking the quiz, you can have them have a progress bar at the button. So if you have 10 or 12 questions, it's sometimes nice for the person taking the form to know how far along they are. You could shuffle the question order for the multiple choices, and then you could either allow or not allow somebody to submit another response. And lastly, you could record your own confirmation message. It could say, thanks for taking my form. I really appreciate it. And then Wes, right? So I could have a more personalized response. And then Google Forms also now does sort of a quizzes where you can actually have answers be correct or incorrect. That'll be covered in a different tutorial video. Okay? Now that I have the video or the form all ready to go, I want to make sure I give it to somebody to take. I do not want to take this address right here because that's the editing address. What I want to do is hit this send button. The moment I hit that send button, I can either enter somebody's email address, or what I find to be more useful is I go to the link and I can just go ahead and take that link and copy it, and I can put that link in an email. I can put that link into another Google Doc. I can put that link on Canvas for anybody to use that has access to that. Hope that makes sense for a quick introduction to Google Forms. We will do a couple other videos highlighting some of the other features of Google Forms in a little bit. Thanks.